with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Seki, for a wonderful speech. It has been an extreme honor to be a part of AAEE and organize this event for these Indonesian participants. I also very much agree that if participants from this program were to become a part of AAEE and to organize an event with us next year or in the spring, that would be very delightful, and it was wonderful working with you guys. I am extremely sorry, but due to technical difficulties, we are having difficulty streaming this final event on YouTube and Facebook. So I am extremely sorry for the delay, but please give us 4 minutes to get this on YouTube. Sorry. Okay, I have been informed that the stream is back on track. Thank you, Momoka, for working hard on it. Now, without any further delay, I would like to welcome Professor Tilda Bursama for the opening remark. Please take it away.
Thank you so much. Ohayo gozaimasu. はじめまして、テルタと申します。いつもお世話になって、関先生とKuwajimaさん。Thank you so much. That is just my few Japanese words that I still remember. Because I would like to say, Japan is like my second country. Yeah. Why? Because my whole research from undergraduate until the PhD is all about Japan, about business, about firms, internationalization, about Japan and Japan investment in Indonesia. And when I finished my bachelor and I got scholarship from your government, from the JICA. So when Dr. Spati asked me to join and to open and to participate in this event, I definitely say no without a reservation. So this is my great honor on behalf of the leadership of the Binus University to congratulate all of you, the participant of AAEE. This is a wonderful exchange student. And I agree with Seki Sensei, Seki Kyoju, that we need to broaden this event. We need to open up the opportunity not only to the current students or current study program, I mean, but we also invite other programs inside Binus or outside Binus. I also be able to give the information to the other universities leaders in Indonesia or other association to the broader audiences. So I hope that the purpose of AAEE can be achieved and can give more benefit to broader students, not only in Japan but also in Indonesia. Secondly, let me just throw back to the years while I was in Tokyo. I was graduated from the Gakushuin University, Kenkyuka, from the master and PhD degree. So my former professor is Professor Shigeru Asaba, that he is now in Waseda. He was a dean Waseda Business School. So when last Sunday I saw someone from Waseda, so I don't have a chance to give my warm regard to him. But if you are now some participant from Waseda, please give my warm regard to my former supervisor, Professor Asaba. Professor Asaba has gave me a chance, wonderful chance, and he treated me and my family very well. And I gave my son's name after his first name. So my son was named Shigeru. So this is one of, I said to him, this is one of my appreciation for your contribution to our life. So our family will remember your contribution to our life. That's the way we are Indonesian people, and I think the people who live with the Eastern culture appreciate people for wherever or whoever that contribute to our life. The people who give benefits to other people. I believe that if we can give benefit to other people without a reservation, I think this will be, great people in the future. So I also have commitment if Professor Seki and Mr. Kuwajima allow me to participate more or give a role more in this network. So I will be very happy either to join as a member or just to join as a foreign fellow of this network. So in order to bridge the relationship between Indonesia and Japan. Thirdly, my family has been a regular recipient of Japanese exchange for student for younger students. I think the primary school students. Yeah, there is some organization. I think I don't fully remember. So every year they send Japanese children to just give opportunity, maybe like a Seki sensei and the maybe in the 1980s. But we regularly from 2000, okay, to around 2000. Every year we receive that the student, and we are very happy that they live in together in our houses, and they know exactly how the Indonesian people live. And then I also sent my daughter to the same program in Japan a few years ago. So what I want to say is that the ningen kanke, kokoro to kokoro, taisetsu to omoshimasu. So これからも皆さんによろしくお願いいたします。僕たちも、if you happen to come to Jakarta, to come to Indonesia, just let me know. Whoever here, Professor Seki or Professor Kuwajima, or even students here, just let us know. Maybe we can do something, very small with Dr. Spati or with my family as well, just to greet you, just to give back to Japan. Okay, so my commitment is just Japan, and you, the people of Japan, has contributed very well to my family, to my life, because you give us opportunity to learn first class education in Japan. Okay, Lakshwin was wonderful for me because I have a chance at that time to see the family, the emperor family. So I think the youngest granddaughter, I think, when they just sometimes they went to the school, and we can see from far. And the other is that one of my former professor, another professor, is also the part of the families of the emperor. So I think it's very very touching experience for me. So I endorse to all the younger generation here, not only from Japanese youth, but to also Indonesian youth. So take this opportunity is deep inside your heart. Not only just I did this program during 1 week and then boom, over, and I got the credit, I got the certificate. No, more than that. Just as Professor Seki said, that he has experience from 1980s, and now his commitment shows us creating this network. Okay, so this is just my a few words, but I'm sorry if this word is too nostalgic in a sense that I need to share it with you. I hope somehow it will inspire you. And I hope all of you have a wonderful presentation, good experience, and that will benefit to you now and in the future. Believe me. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, and enjoy for the presentation. And I hope if I have time, I will follow the presentation as well. Thank you once again to the opportunity and all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, or arigatou gozaimasu, Professor Murashitama.
ありがとうございます。
Your Japanese was extremely good, better than mine, probably. Your warm personality shone through your speech, and I think we have a word in kanji for what you discussed. It's kizuna, and kizuna is written with the kanji for string at the left of the kanji symbol. And so I do hope that, like strings, we will all the participants of this program will be attached by strings from this point on, and will continue to be friends. Thank you.
Well,
so much.
okay. I forget one point. I also, before I entered the Gakuin University, I spent my first year in Jochi Daigaku. So you are from Sofia, right? So I also spent 1 year under the supervisor of Professor Linda in the Ichigaya. So I spent also my time with Jochi Daigaku, and I feel very fortunate there. So I just want to see. When I see your face, I mean, I see people from Waseda, people from Tokyo Keizai University, people from Sofia. I think, oh, it's like me, all of you inside of my heart. Well, okay, just my addition comment. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Professor Murashitama. It is very surprising yet satisfying how these coincidences come to like a joint. Okay. Last but certainly not least, please welcome Mr. Hiroaki Kuwajima.
Thank you again for the wonderful opportunity to attend this wonderful program. I'm extremely feeling honored to attend. First of all, Professor Seki, Professor Murashitama, thank you very much for the wonderful speech. Personally, I actually, when I was a university student, I lived in Mejiro for 4 years. So I was working, literally every day in front of the Gakuin University. And my sister also went to Sophia University. So I feel personally close to Professor Murashitama, particularly. So again, because of the unfortunate situation of the COVID-19, everything now turning into online. But for me, particularly as a person living in the United States, I'm joining from the Silicon Valley right now. But it's also an opportunity for me to join from such a remote space for the conversation, for the dialogue between the youth in Indonesia and in Japan. As I touched upon a little bit when we think of the inequality, which I believe is a central focus of this dialogue, it's truly a global issue. So even in Southeast Asia, if you compare like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, the situation of equality is pretty much different because of the in domestic politics, domestic economic policy, but not about like domestic issues. The situation like globalization, geopolitics, particularly for Southeast Asia, not just Indonesia. U.S.-China relations is going to affect a lot. And also in Silicon Valley, as you all know, there's innovation and emerging startups, and the whole ecosystem is there. But still, even in just 5 miles of my house, actually, I see extremely wealthy people who have private jets, who has all kinds of fortune, but also there's extremely underprivileged people, even within exactly the same area. So I see the extreme inequality in the United States, particularly the West Coast, and I'm always thinking why this is happening. And why I think it's because of the opportunity is not equal, even in the United States, very unfortunately. There was the Black Lives Matter activity, movement in the United States, for example. So it's a never-ending challenge, to deal with this inequality issue, and because it's such an intertwined issue, we need to have a multiple scope and aspect, how to solve this issue. Sometimes we need to have policymakers involved. We have to have business leaders involved. We have to have civil society involved. And we need to have a dialogue, and also not just domestically, but also globally, and how to adjust the global imbalances of the capital, for example. So today I'm really looking forward to what this dialogue, what discussion was happened in this dialogue, and I believe all of the participants actually found, to address these inequality issues, you have to have a really broad spectrum and approach from the multiple, multiple standpoint. So today I'm going to have a 15 minutes presentation about what the business sector is working on as an SDGs initiative. But also I'm very looking forward to hear the presentation from all of the participants. And my final message is again to the Professor Mujtama. As I said, I visited Indonesia in 1997 when I was a high school student, and I missed three things. One is I went to the kind of a very traditional batik factory in the Yogyakarta, and I still have in my home in Japan. So I really visit to see the beautiful batik in Indonesia. And also I want to visit the beautiful park in Bogor. That is the other thing, which I think it's a 1 hour drive from Jakarta, I believe. But it was very, very beautiful, and I wanted to visit again. And the last one is I don't smoke personally, but when I see the Indonesian friends where related to Indonesia, there's always a flavor of the garam. Again, I don't smoke, but everywhere in Indonesia, I smell the garam. So I really miss that. So with that, I'm really looking forward to hear the presentation from the participants. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kuwajima, for an insightful speech. Your speech has once again impacted us that it is extremely important to observe inequalities from many spectrums and many viewpoints. Also, I have not had the personal honor of visiting Indonesia, but your comments made me want to visit the country someday.
All right, so again, I would like to thank the speakers for the kind and wonderful opening remarks. Now, as representative of the delegates from Indonesia and Japan respectively, please welcome Angelina Mutiara and Momo Kamira to give a short opening speech. Angelina, please take it away.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good afternoon, Professor Akinori Seki, Professor Tirta Mursitama, Dr. Raspati Wulandari, Dr. Hadianto Saroso, Mr. Hiroaki Kuwajima, and my fellow friends. Thank you all for sparing your time to come today, despite your busy and packed schedule. Please allow me to begin my speech with 3 words that describe the whole program from the beginning: challenging, fun, and informative. Each day we were given inputs regarding equality, and we must make an output afterwards, which is the challenging part. I guess all the participants agree with me that the Model UN and debate were very challenging. The fact that we were given limited time to do research and must combine all the arguments as short as possible when there are a lot of things we want to say, it was indeed very challenging. However, it was very fun and informative at the same time because we were able to exchange opinions and knowledge we know regarding the topics during the preparation. From the programs, we were able to learn about inequality issues in Japan and Indonesia, also around the world. Through the discussions, we all came up with solutions to reduce inequality, which through education and campaign. The rest of the explanation will be explained later on during the presentation. We started as strangers from different countries. Through this program, we got united. Due to the culture and background differences, we may encounter different perspectives, thoughts, opinions, but at the end of the day, we would always leave smiles and laughter as we finally get to understand each other. Not only we are able to practice our English skills, sharing knowledge and information, but we also create new friendships. This is proof that diversity is not a boundary for us to extend friendship and knowledge. Diversity is beautiful because through diversity, we are able to unite and together come up with solutions to solve problems within the society. We won't be able to participate in this program without the help from AAEE Japan and Binus University. They made this opportunity possible for all of us. So as the representative of Indonesian participants, I would like to say thank you to AAEE Japan and Binus University for making this possible for us. Also, the whole program was organized neatly and fun for all participants. So I would like to invite all of us to do virtual applause for the organizers. They did amazing job to organize the whole program, and we as the participants very thankful for all your hard work. Also, please give another round of applause for all of us. We all did a great job and great job in the program. So before I end my speech, I would like to apologize on behalf of the Indonesian participants to the organizer and Japanese participants if during the program we offend the organizer and delegates from Japan verbally or non-verbally. Last but not least, please do not hesitate to say hi to us in the future because we don't bite. We hope the friendship and good relations we built throughout the program will last forever. Also, we hope we will be able to meet again very soon, offline or online. Let's just go for it and catch up with each other. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you, Angelina, for the wonderful speech. And now I'll give the mic to Momoka, Japanese delegate.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon, Professor Akinoriseki, Dr. Respati Wulandari, Dr. Hajianto Saroso, and Mr. Hiroaki Kuwajima. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come to the final event of SDGs Youth Exchange 2021, the Cross-Cultural Summit. I'm honored to be able to address you on behalf of the Japanese participants of following the opening ceremony. Please allow me to take a moment of your time. And how do we look now after 6 days have been passed after the opening ceremony when we first met each other? Not only did we learn about SDGs, but we were also able to experience something that we don't usually have the chance to experience through like debates and the Model UN United Nations. I feel that we were able to conduct activities in accordance with the sub-theme of this program, which is learn, challenge, break the status quo. In the informal gatherings outside of the program, we were able to deepen our understanding of different cultures and get to know each other through more casual communication. Even though we may not be able to see each other very often due to the pandemic, and even though we are far away from each other, We will always have a strong bond as a friend and as a good rivals in the future. We are grateful that we were able to interact with the Indonesian students at home and for free, and as we were unable to go abroad due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We will keep this precious experience in our mind and keep moving toward our future. However, our program is not over yet. I hope that today's final event will get you a glimpse of what we have learned, what we have felt, and what we will act in the future. Lastly, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the professors of Vida Nusantara University and the AAEE for giving us the opportunity to meet and spend our day together with such a wonderful group of students here. Please look forward to the outcome presentation later in the day today, where you can see the results of our program. That is my greetings to you guys all. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you for the wonderful speech again, Momoka.
Now let us move on. We will now have a keynote speech from Mr. Hiroaki Kuwajima. Mr. Kuwajima has kindly agreed to give us a short lecture on a new viewpoint on reduced inequalities and SDGs. It will surely broaden our horizons and bring us to a new level of understanding. Mr. Kuwajima, you now have the floor.
Yeah. Can I share the presentation? So could you just take out your presentation here? Yeah. Thank you. Give me a second. Do you see the slides here? Yes. Okay. So I have 15 minutes. So I'll be, I don't know, probably 20 minutes. So 15 minutes presentation, probably 5 minutes Q&As. So I'm going to talk about. So I'm now belongs to the high school business UC Berkeley. So I'm primarily focusing on the business topic business case study, how the global companies are trying to address the SDGs issues. So I'm going to talk about the couple of the global companies and also including the startups how to link the business and also addressing the social issues at the same time. So the first company I'm going to touch on the P&G. I'm just going to skip because everybody knows P&G, but it's very actually the global companies operates in 180 countries. It's headquartered in Ohio, and it's healthcare, cosmetics, home care products, and family care. So and it's a very global company. But these days, the corporate, there's a general notion that the notion among those global companies that you need to not just making profits and by doing business, but you need to address the social issues going forward. So apologies for a little bit wordy slides, but one of the kind of the famous case study which P&G did in South Africa is actually how to sell its sanitary products to the girls. So that's the global brand called Always, which is the sanitary products for the women. But still in countries such as South Africa, the talking about menstruation is taboo sometimes. So P&G found actually because of the lack of understanding about the girls' menstruation in society as a whole, they actually started, and also it prevents the girls' opportunities to join in the society and also having a confidence and general confidence overall in their entire life. So P&G started kind of the awareness campaign by having the education on the hygiene for the menstrual issues, and also by distributing sanitary products. And they had kind of the large market share. So it's not just selling sanitary products, but having education to the girls, having earlier recognition and let them have a confidence in their entire life. They succeeded in business, but also addressing the issues actually which is facing a little bit of the inequality among the girls in South Africa. So again, it's kind of considered as a taboo, and because of that, the open conversation in society about menstruation is kind of limited. So which provides lack of information, and when it happened, commuting to school is actually is limited, and also it provides health hazard. So P&G started initiative, how to unleash women's confidence. It's a global actually campaign, and also lets the girls become the person you want to be. So what they did is basically the education and the having enlightenment, and then with the sampling, and they had general recognition among the society that that the name of the product should be used in the menstrual period among women. And the second company I'm going to touch on is the Patagonia. I hope some of you know it's basically an outdoor brand. So it's a product, they're selling like products for camping, or it's very kind of sports oriented brand. But actually, it's also very, very sensitive to the environmental issues from scratch, from when they started the business. So, sorry, it's again a little bit the wordy slides, but what they are trying to achieve is actually by joining Patagonia's initiative, which is their business, obviously, to selling the camping goods and etc. But also by purchasing their product, they're actually directly contributing to the environmental issues. I'm going to explain how it's happening. So Patagonia is actually having multiple campaigns, like organic cotton initiative, which is the first large-scale campaign by Patagonia. If you know, the cotton consumes a big amount of the pesticides, which harms the environment, and also the water as well. So having organic cotton or the whole product, they actually emphasized that, and they differentiated their product, which is environmentally friendly approach, and also expanded the approach to the Walmart, which was a competitor to Patagonia, but to address the large social problems. And it's interesting, they're having 100% for the planet campaign. If you look on the Google, you find a lot of information on the Google, but they sometimes donate whole the sales amount to the social activities. And they recently, what they did is they started to sell like a beer and other food products, actually using the materials which regenerate the soils of the where those crops are harvested. I'm going to explain how it goes. So, those companies these days recognizes, particularly for the generation Gen Z type of people who cares about social issues and environment, particularly from the climate change and soil degradation. And the more and more consumers, particularly in the United States, to start with, look for the organic food or less pesticides. And what they did is how, by letting the consumers buy their product, immediately contributes to address the environmental issues. So how it works is, is regenerative organic farming. There's some crops actually only by growing those crops, actually it brings more nitrogen into the soil, and also it fixes the soil formation. So sometimes by using those materials, and it, which is actually directly contributes the regenerating the soils. So how consumers see it is when consumers buy the beer of the Patagonia, and the beer is using the materials, which reduces the pesticides because it's organic, and it also contributes to soil formation, which is basically which is basically automatically, consumers can feel they are contributing to the environmental issues. So it's very unique model by having still Patagonia is making profit, but also consumers can join in addressing the environmental issues. So it's a very unique model. So they're doing in beer, canned mussels. The interesting part is if you use the canned mussels, which actually cleans the water. So if you purchase the product using mussels, which also contributes to cleaning the water. So this is how the Patagonia is actually arguing that by participating and buying their products, they can contribute. Consumers at the same time contribute to the social issues. The third company is about Toyota, which again, I don't have to explain about Toyota. I think in Indonesia, there's a car called Kijang is driven in Indonesia. And the other aspect, like car companies, obviously cars have emitting lots of CO2s, and also making fatal accidents, etc. And for all of the car companies, it's a big issue for them how to address the whole negative impact by having cars in the society. So these days, cars is actually connected to the internet, and also automated driving, or sharing economy in Indonesia. It's Gojek type of business model is reducing actually the ownership of cars. I know I believe there's still the big traffic jams in Indonesia, but the sharing is also going to address those issues, and also the electrification. So what Toyota is doing is by leveraging those innovations in each area, they are taking advantage of these technologies to reduce fatal accidents, such as using autonomous driving technology, or also using hydrogen or electric vehicles. So that, for example, like a Tesla is approaching Indonesia to procure the whole bunch of lithium. So it's actually related. Those car companies' initiatives is also particularly impacting Indonesia and obviously Japan as well. And the fourth company, which I'm going to touch on, is called Impossible Foods. This is also a very unique company, which basically making plant-based meat, which is exactly tastes like beef, but which is not beef. So if you have the hamburger, it's 100% plant-based, but it's not using meat. And the why it is going to contribute to the environmental issues, I'm going to explain right now. There's one Stanford University professor called Pat Brown founded this company, and he found that actually the farming of the cows is the huge a source of the global warming greenhouse gas emissions. So by actually replacing a beef consumption to the plants, which is actually a huge contributor of the reducing CO2 and other methane gas, which is also the huge contributor to the global warming. So, and also obviously cutting down the forest. So having beef is actually very, very a burden to the environment. And what he trying to do is by having exactly the same type of food as beef, and also partnering with the Burger King and other food service restaurant, they're going to reduce the land use by 95%, they're reducing 74% of the water usage, and 89% of the greenhouse, global warming gas emissions. So that is how this company is going to address by doing business, but also addressing the environmental issues. So what he did is, again, he made 100% plant-based meat, but not just food itself. He defined as experiment. I don't know. I use meat eating experience, like meat juice or the sound of burning, or burn marks and high nutritional value. So if you come to the United States, you have a chance to have these type of products, and it is just amazing. It's very delicious. So this is how the entrepreneurs in Bay Area, Silicon Valley, is trying to change the social issues here in the US. And the final company is still a very new company called Renewne. It's app, smartphone app company. The business model is very simple. That you have the app, which having a 200 to 300 global brands. But the unique thing is for helping the young people to find exactly the product which has the attributes of the issuing the social and the environmental issues. So you can choose and curate the brand which fits into your value proposition or related to the social issues, such as recycled, like saved water, organic, upcycled. So there's a growing trend among the young generations to choose the brand which fits into your social value. So this is a very unique model, but which reflects increasing the trend of those like a Gen Z type of the young generation is going to purchase those products. So this is all of the presentation today. I think I made it exactly 15 minutes. So I still, it's up to the moderators, but if you have any questions, I can answer one or two here. Thank you so much.
If anybody has questions, you are free to raise your hand.
If there's no questions, then we can move on, perhaps. All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Kuwajima, for the informative keynote speech. First of all, I'd like to say your presentation is really organized. I can, even though there was a lot of information, I can really perceive it well. And not only did you talk about how these companies solve environmental issues, you also mentioned a lot of these different companies, such as the app Renewne, Patagonia, and also Impossible Foods. In different business sectors, you mentioned how they think of innovative ideas to solve the environmental issues, which is really insightful. So thank you again for the wonderful lecture. Now it is time for us, the participants of this program, to share how we learned, challenged, and broke the status quo on inequalities the last 7 days. Please buckle your seatbelts. It is going to be one heck of a roller coaster ride. Delegates of Indonesia and Japan, please take it away.
Although there are various inequalities around the globe, we will be focusing on one topic, racial inequalities. The delegates and teams have prepared 3 unique and interactive presentations, all different styles, to not only academically educate, but also to entertain. First things first, let us introduce you to the Indonesian and Japanese delegates and organizers of this program and reflect on what activities we have done the past week.
Hi everyone, my name is Angel. I like basketball. What is your hobby, Abraham? Hi, Angel. Yo, I'm Abraham. I like to cook food. What is your favorite food, Hannah?
Thank you, Abraham. I really like sushi. I'm Hannah. Do you play games, Mao?
No, I don't play games. Hi, this is Mao. Momoka, chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate. Well, anyway, hi, I'm Momoka.
Hi guys, my name is Jennifer, and one of the all-time favorite books that I like is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Do you read any books, boy?
I do. I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I'm Moe. How about you, Marisa?
Yes, I do. My favorite word is first off. My name is Marisa. Lights off, potato, Marisa.
Right. Marisa here, so coffee or tea, isn't it?
Coffee, listen here. Roderick, iPhone or Android?
iPhone. I'm Roderick. Yui, blue or green?
Blue. I'm Yui. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, so first things first. In this section, please enjoy a short movies that present specific examples on the kind of inequalities that exist and how ubiquitous they have become in our daily lives.
Next, I'll explain about what we did and learned about during this program. Please, thank you. Before the presentation, let me introduce AAEE's Instagram. AAEE's Instagram lets you learn more about the program's activities. Okay. Day 0, pre-program. This was the first time we met on Zoom. We had a brief discussion about SDGs, and then we played a lot of games. Through many ice breaks, we got to know each other before the program started. Day 1. On the first day, the program started with the opening ceremony attended by professors from Japan side and from Venice University. Afterwards, we discussed inequality due to ethnicity and writing an essay or creative essay for the output part. The next day, we got a lecture from Yuta Nagasaki from the Japan External Trade Organization. He talked about the trade relationships between Japan and Indonesia and the trade programs of each country. During the lecture, we also got the chance to ask questions and share our opinions regarding the topic. At the end of the day, we practiced the model UN. The third day, we began the day by small discussion about gender inequality. We were put into groups to discuss the topic and gave interactive presentations of what each group had discussed in the breakout rooms. On this day, we had a very intense and challenging parliamentary debate, which had 2 rounds. A parliamentary debate is a debate in which a topic is divided into the government side and opposing team. The rule of a debate is simple. Each team must persuade the third party with their argument about the topic in order to win. The motion we had, the House would introduce a universal basic income, and the House would introduce a female quota in Parliament. Outside the program, we also had an informal gathering where we were able to watch an Indonesian movie called Kamala Family And we also watched a Shinja movie. For the icebreaking session. Thank you. For the icebreaking session, we also did radio calisthenics from Japan. As for the last 2 days, we are preparing for the closing ceremony. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for a detailed introduction on what the program was like. I hope you had an idea on what we did the last 7 days. Now, in this section, please enjoy short movies that present specific examples of the kind of inequalities that exist and how ubiquitous they have become in our daily lives.
Okay. Frame scene 1.
Excuse me.
Okay, I will explain scene 1. In this scene, on a fine sunny day, Angel is having a hard time finding AAEE high school. She reaches out to a stranger to ask whether she knows where AAEE high school is. Okay, here we go.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Do you know where AAEE High School is?
Oh, you can go to the left and then go straight. The school is on the right side of the road, so you might need to cross the road.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. But if you don't mind, I could actually take you there since I'm going to that area.
Really? That would be nice.
Yes. So, are you new here?
Yes, I am. I'm actually a student from Indonesia.
Oh, you can speak really good English. Speak really good English.
Should I not?
Well, English is hard language, don't you think?
Yes, but it doesn't mean I can't speak fluent English.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
Well, what you said is microaggression.
Wait, what's that?
Microaggressions are insults or negative attitudes based on prejudice or discrimination that appears in everyday behavior against a different race, also gender, and etc.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry to say that. I'll be careful in the future.
I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Okay. As you can see, microaggression is when you unconsciously say or do something racist or sexist, even though they don't intend to discriminate or hurt others. Okay, I'll explain scene 2. Now let's watch this scene where Hannah and Carissa are talking about kimonos. Here we go.
Wow, I like your outfit. It is a traditional attire in Japan.
Thank you. It is called kimono in Japanese. And we really wear this in cultural occasion, but we wear it in a special occasion like coming of age ceremony and weddings.
Cool. You know, it is actually quite popular here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, have you ever seen Katy Perry stage on America's Music Award? Her geisha-inspired style was so beautiful. I was so touched by that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I really want to wear a kimono. I saw it was sold in costume shop for Halloween.
Nice. But can I say something?
Yeah?
I think it is cultural appropriation. I would say it's rude to pick and choose elements of a culture by a member of another culture without permission and deep understanding.
Oh, I'm new to the concept. So it is not allowed to wear kimono here?
Oh, no, you can wear this.
How?
Okay, how about this? I will teach you how to wear kimono in proper way when pandemic is gone, and then I will in Indonesia.
Oh, that's fantastic. Let's do this.
Yay!
Okay. As the video shown, cultural appropriation refers to picking and choosing elements of culture by a member of another culture without permission. This includes traditional knowledge, religious symbols, artifacts, or any other unauthorized use of cultural practice. Okay, I'll explain scene 3. Now let's watch two high school friends catching up during their alumni gathering where they talk about their life, including their occupation. Here we go.
Long time no see, Marissa. How are you?
Oh, Roderick, I'm good. I heard you got promoted last year. Congratulations.
Thank you. How are you doing with your work?
It's very hectic, actually.
Oh, I knew that. You shouldn't have taken that job in the beginning. It's a job for males. It's a job for males.
Why did you think that way? Working as the only female in tech company has been totally okay for me. I like computers. I like coding.
I read a research which says that only about 52% of women leave tech jobs and never comes back. Working in a tech company is not food for your career too.
You are just stereotyping. I don't agree with you were saying. But I think women and men have the same opportunity in everything. It's just stereotyping.
I got you. I was just stereotyping. Sorry.
Okay. As you can see, sexism is prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination typically against women on the basis of their gender. Okay. Those are examples of casual conversation we encounter in our daily life. However, everyone could lead a more comfortable life if those inequalities could be demolished one by one. Thank you.
So thank you beforehand for the wonderful short movie. It was really fun to watch. And they mentioned a lot of these issues that is apparent in our current society, such as microaggression, cultural appropriation, and stereotyping in gender, which was also really informative. So next, we will be delving further into racial inequalities by tackling a social issue, which requires deep academic discernment, but with a twist. It will take in a form of debate, parliamentary style.
May I start the debate? Okay. Hello, everyone. Today's motion is, this House will introduce quotas for migrant workers. On the government side, we have Roderick Orlando as Prime Minister, Omoka Midura as member of the government, and Yui Nogami as a Prime Minister. On the opposition side, we have Marisa Horiuchi as leader of the opposition, Jennifer Elaine Dermerman as member of the opposition, and Hana Nakashima as leader of the opposition reply. Please note that we will be asking the audience to vote on which side was more persuasive at the end of the debate. Now, I will welcome the Prime Minister's speech within 3 minutes.
Thank you, chairpersons, and hello honorable audiences and fellow debaters. Today we are debating on the motions that this House will introduce a quota for migrant workers. We, the government, strongly support this stance. Before we start, we should introduce the issues of labor efficiency distributions. The government sides have 2 points to back up these issues. To elaborate these points, we can see it through how the growing pace of economic globalizations has created more migrant workers than ever before. Unemployment and increasing poverty have prompted many workers in developing countries to seek work abroad. It is estimated that 73% of migrants are workers, In industrialized countries, demand for laborers, especially unskilled labor, has increased. As a result, millions of workers and their families have to travel to other countries to find a new job. Considerable effort have been made over recent years to obtain reliable and comparable data on labor migrations. However, as noted by the international labor organizations and the international community, there remain significant gaps. Due to the opening case, I propose the audience with strong arguments that migrant workers contribute to the economies of their host countries, and the remittances they send home help to boost the economies of their countries of origin. Yet, migrant workers often benefit from inadequate social protectors and are also vulnerable to exploitations and human trafficking. Skilled migrant workers are the least vulnerable to exploitations, but their departure deprives some developing countries of the valuable labor needed for their own economies. International labor organization standards on migrations provide tools for both countries of origins and destinations to manage migrations flow and ensure adequate protections for this vulnerable category of workers. Relevant regulatories involve Migrations for Employment Conventions revised 1949 number 97 that says that requires ratifying states to facilitate international migrations for employment by establishing and maintaining a free assistance and information services for migrant workers and taking measures against misleading propaganda relating to migrations and immigrations, includes provisions of appropriate medical services for migrant workers and the transfer of earning and savings. States have to apply treatment no less favorable than that which apply to their own national in respect to a number of matters, including conditions of employment, freedom of associations, and social security. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I welcome the leader of the opposition to give their speech within 3 minutes.
Okay. Hello, honorable judge and fellow debaters. My name is Marisa, and I will be the leader of the opposition side. I disagree with the idea of introducing quotas for immigrant workers. Before I move on to explaining what that is so, I will be refuting the government side's argument. The government side has stated that migrant workers contribute to the economics of their host countries and the remittances they send home help to boost the economics of their home countries. However, they are forgetting that there is a cost to guarantee their livelihood, and it's funded by taxes from the locals. It might frustrate the locals, and immigrants may not always feel comfortable in the host country. So it could cause a cultural clash, terrorism, and crime. To prevent them from occurring, the government must strengthen security and take all possible measures. Moreover, accepting migrant workers may deprive locals of employment opportunities. Labor costs tend to be lower for migrants, especially in the non-high-skilled work. If locals try to compete with them, the locals will have to work for low wages. That might cause unemployment to rise and decrease GDP and GNP. We have mainly 2 points: cost and equal opportunity. I will talk about the first one. Accepting migrant workers is a cost. I will quote German research. It says that if Germans accept all migrants workers who wish to enter, the government will bear an additional burden of 10 billion euro, which equals to about 8,700 billion rupiah or 1 trillion yen. Of course, it is important to help immigrants, but shouldn't the priority of a nation be to protect the livelihood of its own citizens? We should protect our own security. Accepting migrant workers should come after that. That is one reason why we disagree with the idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I welcome the member of the government speech within 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. Now I will start my speech. First, I will give a rebuttal to their first point, which was equality. The opposition side is ignoring the fact that migrant workers do not have an equal relationship with national workers as it stands now. With International Labor Organization, ILO, studies showing that on average, migrant workers worldwide are paid 13% less than national workers. In some countries, the difference is as much as 42%. If migrant workers and national workers are equal, such a gap would not exist. In Luxembourg, for instance, migrants earn 27% less than nationals compared with 15% less in 2015, which means that the pay gap between migrants and nationals is increasing. So this inequality may widen further because of the ongoing pandemic and from not introducing quotas for migrant workers. So their argument does not stand, and our side's argument still stands strong. Now, I would like to move on to our second point of the motion, which is productivity. Both high and low skilled migrants improve productivity. So the gains immigrants bring are not exclusive to high skilled workers with a specific knowledge and diverse skills. So low-skilled migrants also have a significant impact on overall productivity by complementing the existing skill set of the population. So in the effect of immigration on productivity, evidence from US states, NBER working paper number 15,507, in the research, they have done a study which suggests that immigrants increase total factor productivity. So these productivity gains may arise because of the more efficient allocation of skills to tasks, as immigrants are allocated to manual-intensive jobs, promoting competition and pushing natives to perform communication-intensive tasks more efficiently. Indeed, a measure of task specialization of native workers induced by immigrants explains half to two-thirds of the positive effect on productivity. The most important thing to remember in this debate is the message we have announced at the beginning of all of the participants today, where our responsibility to bring equal life treatment for the people with different races, such as immigrant, is necessary to ensure that they have just as much of a chance to live the most as a human being. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I will invite the member of the opposition to give a speech for 3 minutes.
So thank you, Chairperson. So we would like to refute the statement made by the member of government. They were mentioning equality, and the point of equality is that there should be equal status, rights, and opportunities. If companies wanted to implement these quotas, it could work both ways. One, either extend the migrant worker quotas and promote migrant workers, or two, limit the number of prospective migrants who may be admitted annually, similar to the US law. This means that employment opportunities would no longer be equal, and the employment would be based on racial or ethnic background, rather than each individual's qualification or skills. A quintessential example is the Immigration Act of 1924, where they had limited the number of migrants allowed entry into the United States through a national origins quota. The quota provided immigration visas to 2% of the total number of people of each nationality in the US as of the 1890s national census. It completely excludes immigrants from Asia. This point could be...
Excuse me, point, ma'am.
Yes.
How is the statement made related to the motion of the quota for migrant workers?
Yes, I was about to explain this matter. As we were explaining, although this is about the Immigration Act for visa application, a similar concept applies, where the implementation of quotas for migrant workers results in limiting migrant workers instead of promoting equality or even diversity. Essentially, the point is that this case is similar in the sense that it shows how quotas can in fact reduce equality rather than promoting it. The opposition group believes that rather than implementing migrant worker quotas, it would be even better to implement a hiring system that promotes equality in hiring workers, regardless of their ethnicity or racial background. The hiring system is commonly known as merit-based system, which is a hiring system that hires and gives promotion based on an individual's qualification for a position. A hiring system based on merit ensures that vacancies are filled by applicants with the knowledge, skills, and ability that are most likely to lead to success in position. In June of 2020, even the United States government had joined the move in doing a merit-based system hiring when it released the executive order on modernizing and reforming the assessments and hiring of federal job candidates. The order cites America's private employers on modernizing their recruitment practices by embracing competency and skill-based hiring. This implies that countries like America, where diversity and equality is valued highly, also prefers to hire workers from an equal and unbiased standpoint, assessing them truly based on their competency and skills. Thus, this is why we believe that implementing quotas for migrant workers will not promote equality and is not feasible, which is why we beg to differ.
Thank you. Now I will invite the leader of the opposition to reply speech within 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson, and hello, everyone. I will be the leader of opposition reply. I will start by summarizing what we, the opposition group, had mentioned previously. We believe that the process of hiring people should be done equally. Thus, the notion that we should implement quotas for hiring migrant workers means that the hiring system no longer becomes equal, as it would definitely add a limit or prioritizing the number of migrant workers in a company, thus creating inequality. We also believe that implementing quotas for migrant workers are not feasible, as it not only is very costly and it is detrimental to the economy, as migrant workers have to compete for jobs with domestic or local workers, which makes more workers compete for lower cost of labor, thus meaning they would have lower income, decreasing their standard of living and might cause unemployment rate to rise, resulting in lower GDP and GNP. In addition, we would also defend in a point that the government side has made earlier. They mentioned that the country would be improving their productivity if they implement migrant worker. However, during the COVID or pandemic era, companies would want to optimize their businesses, which means that they prefer hiring capable workers rather than workers based on their ethnicity, which means that productivity or efficiency would be better achieved if the workers are hired based on their competency rather than their ethnic background. Thus, this is why our side's argument stands strong, not to mention that some developing countries will also lose population and the labor force if migrant workers' quotas are implemented, which is a big problem for the country itself. If that country loses population and labor force, their economy will shrink. Once the country loses human resources, everything from then on will go downhill, such as efficiency and productivity. And it is difficult to get back again. Without human resources, it would be difficult to develop as a country. That would mean sacrificing economic development and achieving stable and huge economic growth, which would only increase economic disparity between countries. For this reason, we beg to oppose.
Thank you. I will now like to call upon the last speaker of this round, the Prime Minister of the reply speech. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, Honorable Chairperson and judges. I am the Prime Minister reply, and I will be giving my speech. First, let me refute the opposition side's second point. They talked about an unequal employment distribution throughout one state. However, as we said before, a lot of unskilled and skilled migrant workers contribute to newly learning the skills for those originating people and who were employed for those originating people who were unemployed over time. So their point does not stand. Now, let me summarize the flow of this debate. The government side had 2 points, the first one being that it contributes to the economies of their host countries and the countries of origin, and the second one that immigrants improve productivity. Our first point was that immigrant workers contribute to the economies of their host countries, and the remittances they send home help to boost the economies of their countries of origin. And although the opposition side refuted this by saying costs may rise upon this statement, they are only thinking about the short-term costs, and this can have a huge economic impact in the long run. So their argument does not stand, and our first point is still strong. Our second point is that productivity rate will increase along with the flow of migrant workers. The opposition side failed to argue why unequal costs might be an issue to the growth of the economy due to the increase of productivity levels, so our argument still stands. In conclusion, the government side's arguments both stand strongly, while the opposition side's arguments are considerably weaker or do not stand at all. For these reasons, the government side is superior, and I am proud to propose the motion. The House will introduce quotas for migrant workers.
Thank you. Now I close this round. Thank you for your cooperation. Please give it a big hand for all those who participated in the debate. Now we would like for the audience here to vote on which side, the government or the opposition side, had the most persuasive arguments. Please cite either the government or opposition in the chat box and send it to us. Yeah, since this debate had a very interesting clash, it might be quite difficult to come up with a winner. If there, okay, thank you. There is one comment on YouTube that says the government side. Okay, so there was an opinion that the government side was more superior. Personally, I would disagree. I would vote for the opposition side if I was the judge, but we're not going to discuss that here. Personally, it was really interesting to see how the points, whether migrants or the sake of their own country, was good, clashed very efficiently. Also, I would like to add that the opposition side had an alternative plan that I think made the debate more interesting. Anyways, both sides' arguments were very strong, they were very persuasive. You did wonderful. So again, big hand for all those who participated in the debate and thought about the speeches. Congratulations. I think you made a very successful, fun debate. Okay, so now, it was a wonderful debate on both sides, and I enjoyed it very much. And now let me move on. Okay, throughout this presentation, we have discussed the sub-issues concerning racial inequalities. Now, to bind them all together on a larger scale, let us move on to the final section, where delegates will tackle the fundamental question: how do we solve racial inequality? Take it away.
Thank you, Moe. Good afternoon. Prior, we had seen several sub-issues, and now we would like to present solutions we had discussed. However, before introducing the solutions, we must understand the main causes and the root causes. Next slide, please. Thank you. A Stanford psychologist once listed 7 contributing factors to racism in America, such as categories where people have been categorizing people into distinct groups. Factions is triggering in-group loyalty and intergroup competitions. Segregation is hardens racist perceptions, preferences, and beliefs. Hierarchy, which is emboldens people to think, feel, and behave in a racist way. And then we have media. Media is overrepresented and idolized representations, and pacifism, which is overlooking or denying the existence of racism, encourage others to do the same. From those 7 causes, we identify the root causes to formulate solutions. The root causes are environment, prejudice, human behavior, historical background of each country, overrepresentation of certain ethnic supremacy, and lack of cultural awareness. Overrepresentation of a certain ethnic supremacy, which doesn't reflect real life diversity, and sharpen the disparities between each ethnic since it is accessed widely. Lastly, lack of cultural awareness, culture awareness help us break down culture barriers, build culture bridges, and learn how to love and appreciate those different from us. We can relate better to people with culture differences as we begin to understand ourselves better. This results in more culture connection and less culture conflict. But sadly, not all people are privileged to learn this. Finally, we innovate two solutions, one for the long term and one for the short term. My friends Abraham and Carissa will explain more about these solutions. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Angelina. Hello, everyone. To combat racial inequality, there are two transformative solutions that we are going to offer in the long run and the short run. Next slide. For the long-term solution, we will suggest the government to provide racial equality course and critical thinking for all education institutions. Next slide, please. Middle childhood, or children at the age of 6 until 12, are the time when children develop foundational skills for building healthy social relationships and learn roles that will prepare them for adulthood. According to Healthy People Report, this period of time is where children are more likely to observe and act towards what they have been taught. So we believe that at this age, education institutions or schools must provide the study of racial equality and encourage students to train their critical thinking towards the subject. Applying both these two combinations are crucial for the success of eradicating racial inequality, because the knowledge on racial equality will taught the students on how to embrace differences and appreciate the beauty in diversity. Also, the critical thinking skills towards racial equality subject will make children to understand the reason on why they need to act equally toward other group of people with different race or ethnicities. For example, same as in Japan, in Indonesia, we have a civics course, or in Indonesia, it can be said as PKN, Pendidikan Kewarganegaraan. However, like all countries, although there are civics courses that are taught to all students, racism and discrimination acts are still happening throughout the world. Then why do racism are still present throughout the world? The reason on why racism still happen is because most people only memorize their civics course, but they do not instill this knowledge, principles, values on their minds and hearts. Therefore, we believe by applying critical thinking, students will embrace and appreciate diversity not because they are forced to, but because they know that it is the right thing to do. So it is more on students' own initiative and self-determination when we apply critical thinking on this subject. Next slide, please. In terms of government policy, we would suggest the government to make a policy which enforce education institutions or schools to add racism equality course for countries that do not have this course, and also encourage students to use their critical thinking on this course. So both these two combinations are very crucial and must be applied: racial equality course and critical thinking. In other words, we want the government to encourage the students to get used to analyze, question, evaluate every information and knowledge that are offered to them. We believe that as students understand equality on races and understand why they should act equal towards other people, this behavior and mindset will instill great habits to these children. And in the long run, society's mindset will slowly adjust to become more tolerant and acknowledge racial diversity. Next slide. Thank you so much.
As ordinary citizens, we can also contribute positively on our daily life. For the short-term solution, we introduce you to the One World project that can be used as a follow-up program. One World project is an anti-racism educative platform to combat and raise awareness of racial inequalities through social media. Next slide, please. The platform was mainly focused on Gen Z, promoting its educative and fun content through Instagram and TikTok. Next slide, please. Now, why Gen Z is a perfect target for our education platform? To continue from the long-term solution, based on McKinsey and Company, they researched Gen Z's behavior and its implication. The search for the truth is at the root of all Gen Z's behavior. It is shown that Gen Z displayed the behavior of four types: undefined ID as expressing individual truths, communaholic as connecting through different truths, dialoguer as understanding different truths, and last one, realistic, whereas unveiling the truth behind all things. We see a pattern in Gen Z's behavior. The word truth is always highlighted here. That's why Gen Z is the perfect, because they exhibit openness, eagerness to learn, and communication skills for us to change the stigma and racial inequality. Next slide, please. Not only that, but we are also supported by the digitalization era. In Industry 4.0, technology expansion and revolution are massive. Information and knowledge are effortless to access. You only need one smartphone anytime and anywhere you want. The social network used also increased as well. Did you know that Instagram ranked 4th and TikTok ranked 7th on the top popular social network for July 2021? It can be seen from this data, they both reached the rank based on the number of their active users in millions. It is why Instagram and TikTok are the perfect medium, making the campaign more seamless to be accessed worldwide. One small act of promotion can actually impact the world greatly if we do it together. Next slide, please. So what are we aiming to do in the platform? Our campaign program and activities will consist of, first, making videos about racial inequality for TikTok. Second, posting updated content and news about racial inequality that happened for Instagram. Lastly, making hashtags or challenges to make the campaign educative and fun. Next slide, please. This is the mock-up of the logo, Instagram account, and the feeds OWP Global as our main platform. Not only that, people all around the world could join the platform and campaign by next. One of our connecting tools, where you can upload a Tweebon as a sign of companionship, joining in hand, raising awareness. It is also will aid us greatly, expanding the platform's exposure, making it more well-known in society. Next slide, please. So let's embrace diversity together to make a better world. Thank you, everyone.
All right, so thank you everyone for a delightfully entertaining presentation, beginning from the short movies to the debates and this solution, providing solution to make diversity, to promote diversity. It was truly a very entertaining presentation. So please give a big round of applause for everyone who worked very hard to prepare this presentation. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so now please welcome Mr. Hiroaki Kuwajima to kindly give feedbacks on the outcome of our presentation.
First of all, thank you very much for all the effort all of the participants made. It's actually the way more than my expectation, that the quality was very, very high, and it's a big challenge for me to have instant feedback on these great presentations. And first of all, I think the approach was excellent. You picked up particularly I like the idea of the debate. You talked about migration and also the quota based on migration. I think you found out that actually in this particular topic, either racial inequality, gender inequality, economic inequality, there's no right answer and no wrong answer, because the inequality, so there's always, have two sides, either again, gender, racial, economic. If any types of the groups or cohort feels unequal and trying to change the situation towards more equal situation, the other side of the spectrum, people feel actually unequal, by changing the status quo. So what is always difficult, particularly when you think of the effect of the globalization, in the past 20 years of the globalization after the Cold War, for example, it was actually great opportunities for the developing countries to develop because of the flow of the goods and the people. We talked about migration, the flow of the capital, actually the more becoming free, and there was actually the more opportunities for the developing countries for economic growth, which provided actually more equal chances and opportunities for the people living in the developing countries as a whole for the economic growth. When we see what happened in Southeast Asia as a whole, the whole ASEAN countries has achieved the spectacular economic growth for the 2 decades. It's because of the globalization. So, which in that sense, for example, we can argue the economic equality was achieved, but we can argue for the last 2 decades. But what happened in the United States, for example, why the President Trump came out? Because of the backlash of the globalization, flow of goods, flow of people, flow of capital, which felt some groups of people in the United States, they feel unequal by having more immigrants and by having more less chances for making goods because those employment moved to Mexico or somewhere in China, everywhere. So I think one of the very important point is when we are trying to solve inequality issues, we have to think about who will be affected in the other side and how to have a discourse and effective conversation among the people who are affected by one types of the movement. So it's particularly sometimes difficult because it always challenges the social notion, and particularly, for example, if you take democracy. Let me take one immediate examples, like what is happening in Afghanistan. For example, American troops are moving out from Afghanistan, and obviously the people who are trying to govern the country in terms of the equality, it has a huge problem after U.S. pulled out troops from Afghanistan. But still, as a whole, as a democratic country, United States, as a country, chose to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, even though which brings racial, economic, gender inequality in that country. So it's always we need to think about somehow, as a society, as a country, we need to make a decision. And what is happening in the U.S. and everywhere, particularly in the United States, there's a huge dichotomy and division between one groups of people and the other groups of people. So because of the Facebook and Twitter, the whole effect of the social networking service. So I think the argument that education is actually very, very important. Because having the education is the only way to establish an effective discourse between among the people who have different ideas and a different social notion. And I'm particularly arguing from the position of the United States, and but the democracy in the end, it's a majority takes the decision. So the only way to challenge the social notion is how to change the social notion about the whole, not just about the inequality issue, but the whole kinds of the social issues. So but at the same time, again, now globally, the effective dialogue and discourse among different groups of people is becoming very, very difficult because of the social networking service. Even in the United States, in Florida, for example, if the teachers are not wearing masks, the parents are going to attack them if the teachers are not wearing masks. So what I wanted to say is education is very important, but also how as a society, either way you have to make a decision, and how to effectively have a discourse among and groups who have different ideas, and finally having agreeable and a consensus among the society. So how to establish that decision-making process beyond having a campaign and education. I think it's very, very important. But overall, I think particularly having a debate, you found out there's no right answer and there's no right approach, because it's a society which decides in the end, and it's a society how to make consensus and how to make a decision after the whole kinds of dialogue among different groups. But one thing, as a final message, I want to stress that it's always when you argue equality, there's people or groups in other side who feels inequality. In the US, it's always the migration in the quota issue is a very, very sensitive topic in the United States, because always people feel opposite way against the groups who argue the equality. So I know it's a never-ending issue, but I'm very, very satisfied and impressed by all of the effort and the presentations. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuwajima, for a very insightful and honoring comment. I don't think anything that I can say would be enough for thanking you. And but I was able to see that sometimes equality doesn't exactly mean fairness, or movements for inequality might actually cause inequality or diversion. And it is always important to come to a consensus. And I think as a group, this past 7 days, we have spent time trying to come to a consensus. We have educated ourselves, and using the feedback you gave, I think we can move on from here to achieve consensus on a global scale. Thank you so much again, Mr. Kuwajima. Thank you. As all fun times must come to an end, please welcome Dr. Lespati Wulandari finally to give us some closing remarks and officially close today's event.
Thank you very much. So, fellow professors and students, once again, it's an honor for me to give a closing speech to this event. President John F. Kennedy once said in his speech in September 12, 1962 in American University. Do you know what is it? It was and is still popular until now. It resonates until today. Well, this is the speech. We choose to go to the moon, the president said. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because the goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too. We choose to go to the moon. Well, that time, many people thought that it was just a daydreaming, something impossible, wasting money and tax. Even NASA that time did not ready that. And many criticized that project was to compete the Soviet Union. But in July 1968, Neil Armstrong, the first man who landed on the moon. Many people proud with the Apollo 11 team. They said American pride. From this event, we can see that everything is possible. Just like what you do for the past 1 week, your ideal, your dream, your thoughts, your project in reaching sustainable development goals. Is it difficult? Yes, just like you said. Is it hard? True. Is it challenging? For sure. But is it impossible? No. So we hope that your thoughts, your idea, your dreams Do not stop when this event is over. This is not the end. It is just a beginning, a starting point to write your journey. Remember, number 1000 starts from 1. It does not start from 100, but 1. And 1 itself starts from yourself. 1 in me, 1 in you, and all of you. So we cannot always rely on others, not government, not businessmen, but you, ourselves. We are very proud of all of you, the champions, future leaders, and we are looking forward for your project to be coming through. And Professor Tirta and I and BINUS leader looking forward for the next event with AAEE and BINUS University. So good luck and God bless you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Wulandari, for the inspiring closing speech. I couldn't say more. It was truly inspiring indeed. Yes, as you mentioned before, like one people, although it is just one person, they could definitely create a ripple effect that will affect the society. So I think that is a point that is worth mentioning. So before ending the final event, let me thank Professor Seki, Dr. Wulandari, and Mr. Kuwajima, and all the special guests attending today's event. You made this event possible. Now, I believe we have truly come to an end. And thank you everyone for listening. And I hope this final event has made an impact on you. Goodbye, and I hope to see you guys again. Moyo, do you have anything to add?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, Jennifer, you did wonderful for closing. Thank you so much.
Right.